It is another episode of Amjambo Time. Thank you for all who help us to broadcast this unique program. I want to welcome our listeners in Maine and around the world. Here are our headline stories. Maine Immigrants' Rights Coalition is hosting Maine Immigrants Forum. New of the kind, but...
We really want to recognize the resiliency and the work of really the hard work of our communities.
All eyes are on Portland, where almost 300 asylum seekers are housed at the Expo Center, but will have to leave mid-August. Where will they go?
I don't think any one of us really has a clear answer to what is next.
The asylum seekers at the Expo organized the protest to bring some problems to the attention of the city. We have Beatrice Balou of Action for Life organization with some advice for better two-way communication. Entrepreneurs from the community talk about the challenges to connect with opening businesses. Khadija Ahmed is here. Antonio Rocha, a miner with Brazilian origins, will take us to Brazil. As an artist, he is heartbroken with the inequalities in the country. At Amjambo Africa, we bring new Mainers together with all Mainers. This is a collaboration between Amjambo Africa and the WMPG of Southern Maine University, 90.9 FM. My name is Jacques Kuzimana and I'm your host. Thank you for tuning in. The Maine Immigrants' Rights Coalition is hosting their inaugural Maine Immigrant Forum on July 17. The forum is intended as a moment to pause and reflect over the challenges of the past years as well as celebrate achievements. Madeleine Saucier, Program and Community Engagement Manager at MIRC, is here with us. Please tell us more about this event.
This is MIRC's inaugural Maine Immigration Forum, and we're hosting it on Monday, July 17th. So in just a couple of weeks. It's going to be at Halo, which is an event space at Thompson's Point in Portland, where they have concerts and events. And we've booked this space for the afternoon. So we have different sections, different portions of the event. From 4 to 5, we will be hosting an education forum, and I can go into more detail about that. And then from 5 to 6:30, we will be having food and networking. And then from around 6:30 to 8:30, we'll have a reception. But the idea, the mission of the MIF, of the Maine Immigration Forum, is to create a platform that recognizes and celebrates and nurtures all of the work of the collaborative work of our member organizations, of MIRC's member organizations, and really honoring all of this grassroots work in Maine that's been going on, particularly through COVID. We really want to recognize the resiliency and the work of really the hard work of our communities through the pandemic, and acknowledge what they've done and how far they've come in serving and uplifting their communities. The genesis of this was really, we want to recognize these organizations. We want to nurture the grassroots work that's being done, and we had the opportunity at last December to go to a national conference, the MIRC team. It's the largest of its kind, and it was held in National Harbor, Maryland. And we were able to hear a poet and philosopher named Dr. Bayo Akomolafe. And this was the National Immigrant Inclusion Conference. It's NIC for short, NICC. NIIC, I'm sorry, NIIC. We were able to hear from Dr. Bayo, who's really, known by many, but also he's widely appreciated. But also, we wanted to welcome him to Maine because we think perhaps a lot of people in Maine haven't heard of him, and we think, a stage for him this kind of stage would be a wonderful venue for Mainers to hear from him and to hear, he has a very poetic and unique and fresh and sort of ingenious way of engaging with his audience and speaking about social change and global crises, and only in a way that a philosopher can. And so we invited him, and he will be our keynote speaker, and he'll be part of a group of other speakers who, and as well as performers, I should say, that will be presenting at the event.
As the days pass, the deadline is approaching for hundreds of asylum seekers housed at the Expo Center in Portland seems to be moved out so that sports games can resume. Coupled with not knowing what their next housing destination will be, conditions like lack of showers and medication propelled many to take to the area in front of the Expo at the end of June to demand change. I talked with Maina Beatrice Balou, the founder of Action for Life, who was helping some women at the Expo.
My name is Beatrice Balou. I'm the founder of Action for Life. We work with immigrants and we provide direct services. We also partner with local nonprofit and some cities here in Portland, South Portland, Yarmouth, Westbrook. So we basically provide direct service for basic needs, and we also help with applications like all the benefits like from DHHS.
Yeah. So I was reading on Facebook and about the story of protesting, and there was too much hate comments. I can tell. So when you read those things, how do you feel in your day work?
Well, this is a United States of America. So it's a diverse country. I understand the frustrations from some people, and we need to come together as a whole, no matter what is happening. I understand some people don't have the advantage like asylum seekers are having, but we not helping only one category of people. We're helping everyone, regardless of the skin color, regardless of the race, the religion. Everyone is welcome. So we want to make sure the homeless, this is homeless families we helping. So everyone is included. Everyone is welcome to seek the help they need. So it's not just about asylum seekers, it's about homeless.
Is it too much to protest when you are an arrival, when you are a new guy, when you are an asylum seeker? Is it too much to protest, or you have the right to protest?
This is a very tough question, but I think
I'm getting it from the comments. People say you got more, you have the expo that's comfortable. It's not even more than, it's more than homeless. All the nonsense things.
We have the freedom of speech on this place. It's their constitutional right to protest, but what they're seeking. Better condition, better living conditions, food, housing. They have limited access to housing, so I think it's the right to protest. But maybe it's too much for those who don't get it. why they're doing it. This is not the right time. I think they are not disabled people. They people who can speak for themselves. So if this is something they were inspired to do, we can't prevent them to protest. But as I said, we have partners and the city of Portland were here yesterday talking with them. So I think this is the best approach we can do. But you cannot prevent someone to seek more or to ask what they want for the well-being.
I think the idea was like go raw, be raw profile. You guys, you're coming from nowhere to our place.
Yeah.
Be raw, don't ask too much. That's what I observed in the comments, But is it too much to ask for what you can help you?
I know there's a lot of restrictions in terms of funding, in terms of help, in terms of services that we're providing. We conducted a lot of culture orientation, telling them the pros, and cons, what they can get, what we can, our capacity to help. So I think discussion, talking to them, they are humans, so they can get that. When they don't have any information, they don't have any idea what's going on, what will be next. So that's how confusions, we're having confusions. But as long as we're talking with them, this is what we can provide for you. This is what is happening, why you can access to housing based on your status. We need to talk to them more often, conducting cultural orientation to give them a big picture of what we're doing and what to expect. I think in that way we can come up with a very good strategy to prevent this in the future.
Call your leaders, call your children, be united for the peace and your children's welfare. Enemy of Africa shouldn't be enough.
Portland City leadership met the protesting asylum seekers and promised to look for solutions to the problems they raised and return in 2 weeks to talk more. Community organizations like Maine Immigrant Rights Coalition and Prosperity Maine were called to calm down those who were protesting. But is there any real progress or prospect of solution? Here is Claude Rwaganje from Prosperity Maine.
So we are in a crisis that is beyond just one person to solve, because we have multiple layers of the crisis.
Can you remind us how many places that are hosting people?
Sure.
And how many people that are
Sure.
housed there?
I don't have the exact number, but I know the state placed 100 families at the Saco Hotel, Comfort Inn in Saco. Yeah. And they just extended their contract through December. They just consolidated 6 hotels in South Portland, which has probably will be about 100 families / with singles. So we're still in the process of that transition. And then Mufalo has 77 people or families at the Salvation Army. So at the expo, as of last week, the city of Portland had 270 individuals, which is about 80 families at the expo.
Yeah.
And then you have, of course, the other shelter, which is in at the Riverside, which has more asylum seeker than regular homeless people. So you can do the math. Definitely a couple hundreds families, and probably 1,000. So if you take the 270 plus maybe 300 at Howard Johnson, maybe another 300 at Comfort Inn, that's already close to 1,000. So that is a challenge, because you think that you have solved one issue and that you need to move on, the other issue comes up.
The hate that I saw on some of the articles online, so the comparison between those folks, asylum seekers or refugees or immigrants who are coming, there is always a tendency to compare to the homeless people, and people say, hey, our homeless people are outside, and your guys are coming in, they are given the shelter, whatever, and they are protesting, they're doing whatever they want. If they didn't want to face the conditions they are in, they would have stayed in their land. So how do you pivot on that?
Definitely, there is no place for hate, no matter what. These people are here on a humanitarian crisis. I would love to be in a Congo today if Congo was peaceful. And there is nothing compared to home. But unfortunately, we are forced to flee by our own government. So I don't want to blame the Americans not to help us when we're being persecuted by our own people. However, when someone is in a situation where they are in and they come to this country, we really need to use the compassion. And we need to look and say, what can we do? I was recently talking to a group of an organization which is a form of a group of individuals who come together to listen and just talk about issues. And the topic we're discussing was challenges and the benefits of immigrants. I said to them, honestly, God, if you were placed in their shoes and you are in a Congo today or Angola or wherever these people come from, you don't speak the language and you don't know the culture, and instead of somebody to say welcome, but they said go away, that won't be pleasant. So definitely hate does not have a place. We need to be welcoming. That's the worst thing that somebody who's experienced difficulties will want to hear. That's why I'm one of the people who continue to challenge manners to remove the word from a way. That is not a welcoming word. So when someone is coming to you with some challenges, you need to welcome them more than pushing them away. On the other hand, I'm not sure if folks who are marching really do understand the impact that can have not only on them, even on the future people will be coming here. Of course, the condition they live in are not good condition at all. We know that, and we sympathize with them. But one thing that I'm imagining, really, somebody like me, Mufalo, Pius, and others from the community leadership, we know how much the state and the cities, the municipalities have sacrificed for these asylum seekers. But probably these people at the expo don't know what happened to people who came before them who were at the expo. They probably don't know. They see other people maybe at the hotel. They think they can just go to the hotel. Unfortunately, they really don't recognize the work that other people are doing for them to be even where they are today, to be fed. So that's why they invite, through this march, some of the people who are full of hatred to say whatever they want to say. But I think when I went there personally, I told them, guys, come on. People are sacrificing for you. They're really doing everything they can. We know the conditions are not good, but can you find some ways to reach out to these people without necessarily going to the street? I'm not saying, and I told them in their eyes, I said, I'm not going to ask you to not to advocate for your rights. However you do it, and I know Payat said the same thing, you can really request to meet with the mayor. You can request to see the city manager. You can request to see the city council. You can request to see the governor if you want. If there is a time, they can allow you to meet them. But going to the street with the children does not solve that problem. So I will say there is no room in the place for hate. But at the same time, those folks also should not open an opportunity for people who want to do those hatred to jump in.
To find a window. Yeah.
Correct.
My land, why still all these conflicts? Oh, my land, why still extreme poverty? Yet you have the diamonds in your land, all the wealth in the hands of some group.
Entrepreneurs from the immigrant community still mention a road full of enormous challenges facing them when they start up their businesses. One example is the licensing process for businesses involving food. Amjambo Time talked to Khadija Ahmed, who shared some challenges she met.
My name is Khadija Ahmed, and I am the president of Food for All Services.
I saw you on the panel and we were discussing about the state of black industry. What was your messaging?
Well, my messaging was we have a lot of difficulty as people of color, but also as immigrants, we have a different level of difficulty. So when we are all put together as just black people, how difficult it is for us immigrants, we have it, I want to say, worse, just because I can't speak for the African American experience, because I'm not African American, but I can speak as an immigrant, African immigrant, and I know I have it worse. So my point today here was to simply express my pain and let everybody knows that it is this hard for me and it is this hard to make it through.
How is it hard? Can you tell me?
Oh my God, so many barriers, so many barriers. I can't even begin with the language barrier because we are French speaking, so we know how hard it is to be able to translate all this information from English to French, but it's a lot of discrimination. And we walk on eggshells trying to make white people comfortable and trying to say stuff like, hey, it's not really about race, it's not really about this and that, but it is about race, and it is very hard for us to make it through, and it is just extremely hard for us to come into this new country, start over, losing our roots, because when we leave home, we lose everything we had. We lose our family support, we lose our friends support. We come here and we have to start over, and then we start over with all these barriers that are 1, 2, 3, 4, extra barrier for being African, extra barrier for being Muslim, extra barrier for being everything that we are and represent, and our culture, because we do not accept or do not adhere to certain ideology that are here because we didn't have it back home. When you put all of that together, it's just a bit much to get through in one lifetime.
How do you overcome how do you overcome those barriers? Because you have started something, so how do you overcome the barriers then?
Well, you find support, you find advocacy, you find ta joie de vivre, and you also find a reason. Like, I have these 5 African American children. They were born here. This is their land. How much work do I have to do? What work do I have to do? And what is the result of the work I'm doing to accomplish something for them? To follow me after, for them to get done, that won't be not the same difficulty as I'm having. So you keep the perseverance, and you remember also that now that you're here, I'm sure as you don't see yourself going back to Rwanda. This is your home. You're here now. So you're gonna make it work one way or another. We don't really have a choice. I don't feel like I have a choice. I feel like this is it for me and I have to make it work, and that's just it. If I had another choice, if I could go back to Congo, of course I'll be like, this is too hard. I'm going back to Congo and I'm taking my children and we're going back to Congo. I can take them to Congo. They'll be lost there, just like I'm lost here. And I know the experience of being lost. I can't do that to them. So it's easier, the key word, to fight here and go back and start having them fight to find their place again.
Oh, stop the violence. Oh, we want an Africa for the African. Yeah, we Africa.
Artist Antonio Rocha is a man of Brazilian origin who talked to us about inequality in Brazil. He paints a vivid picture.
Brazil needs a second emancipation proclamation. We are the largest African diaspora in the world. The US has about 15% Afro descent. Brazil has 54% Afro descent, 55%. We are the largest African diaspora, and most of the people who are affluent in Brazil
But it's
are white people.
You know?
Nobody talks about it. So, and we have the majority of black people are in the favelas, in the shanty towns, incarcerated and being shot on a daily basis. In Brazil, a lot of the affluent people are not white, are not black. They're white Brazilians, and it's what holds Brazil back. The Brazilian elite, they don't want the black people to inform themselves, to move up in society, because there's a fear of retaliation, but that's not the issue. That's not the main issue. The main issue is when you have a country that was the largest slave destination, and all of a sudden now it's the largest African diaspora. Not now, it's been that way. The elite, they don't want to be sharing an office with a black person. They don't want to be sharing their wealth with anybody that is not their kind.
Wow.
So
the gap is wide.
It's huge. It's the largest social gap in the world is the Brazilian. You have people with private jets, many, thousands of people flying on private jets, and millions of people just barely making a living, and most of them are black, Afro descent. It's so crazy. The shame, there's shame, so much trauma. Even some Afro descent people associate themselves as white, light-skinned people, like myself.
Yeah.
I know I'm Afro descent, but if you look at my birth certificate, it says white on it. Isn't that crazy?
It is.
The whole race thing is ridiculous. There's no race. It's the human being species, and we come in many colors.
Yeah.
There's no race, and it's. But everywhere you go, you have people trying to step on the head, on the neck of somebody else. It's white with black. It's white with Asian. It's black with black. Sometimes you find it's like it's Asian with Asian. I find that racism comes from the ridiculous assumption that the pie is finite. That if I don't conquer and dominate and exterminate, there won't be anything left for myself.
We have come to the end of today's Amjambo time. Thank you for tuning in. Please keep an eye on WMPG and the Amjambo Africa website for a podcast of this show and more news we are covering in Maine. And remember, Amjambo Time alternates with our newest show, Wirwe Maine, on air in Kinyarwanda and Kirundi, on alternate Wednesdays at 7, and available by podcast and YouTube at amjamboafrica.com. And stay tuned for news about Bonjour Maine, our newest podcast, out soon, to be broadcast entirely in French. Amjambo Time is brought to you by Jaha Kuzima. Have a great day.